The longer you spend not eating, the more your body heals itself and starts to burn belly fat. The biggest lie is that all food is safe. There are foods that are medicine, and there are foods that will build disease.
Today, world-renowned fasting and insulin expert Dr. Mindy Pelz reveals how to burn stubborn belly fat by mastering your insulin levels. She shares 3 powerful fasting methods, 3 specific foods that keep insulin low, and even a surprising trick that helps your body burn fat while you sleep. But before we dive into her step-by-step strategies, let's start with the basics. What really happens inside your body when you enter a fasted state?
As my blood sugar starts to drop, what's going to happen is my body's going to switch over into this other energy system. And I call this the fat-burning energy system. I call this one the sugar-burner energy system. When it switches over into this fat-burning energy system, it starts to make a byproduct called a ketone. And that ketone will go up into the brain and it starts to repair your brain, which is why people, when they fast, are like, their mental clarity goes up, their cognition improves, their brain fog goes away, because you're literally giving a fuel source to your brain that it may never have been given before.
As blood sugar drops, your body switches from burning sugar to burning fat. This creates ketones, which fuel the brain, boost clarity, and even repair cells. But if you snack all day, insulin stays high and you never switch. That's why mastering insulin is the key to fat loss. So how do you get your body to burn fat efficiently? Let's start with Dr. Mindy Pelz's first fasting method.
You switch over into this fat-burning place. So at 8 hours, you start to make the switch. By about 12 hours, your body's now starting to make a good dose of ketones. The brain is excited, so you're getting that mental clarity. Ketones turn off the hunger hormone. Mm-hmm. So you also, when you switch over, there's going to be a point in which you're not hungry. And that all happens at about 12 hours. But you're also, if you stay there a little longer, if you stay there and you go 14 hours, 15 hours. So check this out. Research shows at 15 hours, we see growth hormone go up. Okay, growth hormone is the hormone that keeps you young and helps you burn fat. We also see in men 1,300% increase in testosterone just from somewhere between a 13 to 15 hour fast. And then we start to see inflammation go down. So all of a sudden, if you have people who have like joints that are hurting, they start doing 15 hours of fasting every day and they're like, God, my joints just don't have that same stiffness in them anymore.
At 15 hours, growth hormone rises, inflammation drops, and fat burning kicks in. This fast lowers insulin, repairs the body, and trims belly fat. But Dr. Mindy Pelz says the next method is even better. It targets stubborn belly fat directly.
The fat burner fast is probably my favorite for those people who want to lose weight. The research was done that 36 hours without food, followed by 12 hours of eating. At 36 hours, what happens is that's enough time where the blood sugars come down, where all of a sudden the body, it's so smart. It goes, okay, blood sugar's not coming. We've been in this fasted state, we've triggered autophagy, we've brought inflammation down, we've made you ketones, we're trying to go find food, but this extra weight, it's not serving you. Because remember, you gotta go find food. So it drops weight. And it's the most beautiful way to get a person to unstick any kind of weight loss resistance. And so that's what they showed, is that actually a 36-hour fast started to unstick weight loss, and it was started with weight around the belly.
Insulin resistance often shows up in the gut first, which is why the 36-hour reset is so powerful. It clears out stored glucose, drops insulin, reduces inflammation, and finally unlocks stubborn belly fat that just won't budge. But here's something surprising. What if your cravings and extra belly fat had nothing to do with hunger? Research shows they can actually be linked to broken dopamine receptors, the very system that controls motivation and pleasure. The good news? Dr. Pelz explains how fasting can reset this system and help you break free from cravings once and for all.
When people go without food for 48 hours, the whole dopamine system will be rebooted. So what's important to know about the dopamine system is it is our molecule of happiness. It is the thing that it's actually a motivation molecule. And it's a neurotransmitter that allows thoughts, happy thoughts, to go across from neuron to neuron. We're so dopamine saturated right now. Mm-hmm. But specifically people who are overeaters, They actually are finding, the study I quote in the book is that they found that people who had food addiction, people who had extra weight, like obese situations, they were not getting as much happiness out of their food because their dopamine receptor sites were saturated. So they had to eat more food to get more happiness. And food is a state changer. It does make us happy. So what they found is if they put them into a 48-hour fast, that they actually rebooted the whole dopamine system and new dopamine receptor sites appeared. So that when they brought food back in to the equation, they actually got more enjoyment out of food with less food.
A 48-hour fast can hit the reset button on your dopamine system. Suddenly, sugar loses its grip. Cravings fade, insulin drops, and fat loss accelerates. But why stop there? Dr. Pelz shares her top 3 go-to foods that supercharge fasting. When you eat these foods together with fasting, your insulin stays low, hunger disappears, and fat melts off faster than ever.
Research shows that a high-protein diet is highly effective for weight loss. Okay, you know what else is highly effective for weight loss? Fasting. Okay, what if we pair a protein-rich diet with a fasting lifestyle? Boom, now we have a really good game for losing weight. So one of the reasons that protein is so powerful for weight loss is that it increases thermogenesis. So those of you that have walked around and said, my metabolism is slow, all you're saying is that you have decreased thermogenesis. Thermo means temperature, genesis means to begin. So if we want to up our temperature and get that energy, that energy burning system, kind of like a fire going, you're going to do it through protein. And you're going to eat 1 gram of protein for every pound of body weight you are. But the couple of studies were really interesting. One of them is on women. So a 2002 study found that women eating a high protein diet doubled their thermogenesis. Okay, let me just put those in words that we can all understand. Women eating a high protein diet doubled their sugar burning metabolism capabilities. Okay, that's a reason to eat protein.
Protein protects lean mass, powers muscle, your biggest insulin sponge, and keeps glucose stable after fasting. Pair protein-rich meals with intermittent fasting, and you're teaching your body to burn fat while preserving strength. Ever wonder why no one craves bitter foods? But they might be your missing key to fat loss.
Bitter foods. This is your radicchio, your dandelion. This is lemon and ginger. These are bitter foods. And what bitter foods do is not only do they support good gut health, but they support your liver. And when we look at hormones, on one hand, we need to make hormones. So when we look at like the avocado, we're helping to support the making of estrogen. When we look at bitter foods and we go, okay, it supports the liver, it supports the gut, that is imperative to be able to help you break down the hormones that you produced. So liver health is key, and there's no better set of foods like bitter foods to be able to help you support a healthy liver so you can break all the sex hormones down, not just estrogen.
Bitter foods detoxify the liver, reduce estrogen dominance, and keep insulin balanced. That means less bloating, less stubborn fat, and smoother hormone cycles. To make sure you are really losing weight effectively, she also explains the importance of a specific type of fish.
And that is, are you ready? Fatty fish. Okay, I know, like some of you don't like fish, some of you would prefer to take fish oil supplements. When we're talking about fatty fish, they are not the most tasty ones. Although I get that some of you love these. Sardines. Sardines is a fatty fish. Mackerels, fatty fish. Cod is a fatty fish. So a 2010 study found that people who took omega-3 fish oil supplements for 6 weeks saw a significant decrease in body fat. A large reason is because when you have this right balance of omega-3, 6, and 9 fatty acids, that balance brings inflammation down. So they may have seen body fat go down. Remember, just walk through this with me as I teach you this, that fat is where your body stores toxins and hormones and extra excess that it doesn't know what to do with. So when we get our omega-3, 6, 9 balance in order and we're doing really well there, then the body is, those cells specifically are more efficient at bringing in the nutrients in and letting the toxins out. And so that cell, the 72 trillion cells in your body, become a much more effective healing mechanism, and they're not rejecting hormones, they're not rejecting nutrients, they're not keeping those toxins inside, so there's no need to store fat. So dialing in that omega-3, 6, 9 balance is really important, and eating fatty fish can help.
Most people think fat burning happens only with nutrition and in the gym. But what if your deepest fat loss happens while you're asleep?
The best time to lose weight and burn belly fat is when you're sleeping. I'm not joking. Like literally when you sleep, you burn fat. And if you think about it, we tend to think, oh, we're burning fat when we fast or we burn fat when we exercise. Those are also great tools for burning fat, but whoever thought that sleeping was an incredible tool for burning fat?
Your body's fat-burning superpower kicks in while you sleep. But here's a catch. When you eat late at night, you can actually store fat instead of burning it.
When melatonin goes up, you become more insulin resistant. So when you're eating at 8 and 9 o'clock at night, when it's dark out, melatonin's going up. So that meal, your body is not going to be able to make the insulin to drive glucose into the cell. So that glucose from your meal is going to get stored as fat. So one of the really interesting hacks is just don't eat in the dark. Like eat when it's light out because melatonin production is down. But a general rule that I use for myself is I don't eat 2 hours before going to bed. When I do eat every once in a while, like if I'm traveling or family, we all sit down very late sometimes, then I hate that because I can see it on my Oura ring that my deep sleep, my REM sleep, my whole sleep goes off. But again, we're not looking at sleep as this fat burning tool. So stop eating 2 hours before you go to bed, and in that, let's try to eat in the light.
When melatonin rises at night, your body becomes more insulin resistant. Eating late means glucose is more likely to be stored as fat. Eat during daylight and stop at least 2 hours before bed. This supports better sleep and helps your body burn fat. Struggling to lose weight? Click the video to discover Dr. Jason Fung's smart fasting method to train your body to burn fat naturally without starving or exhausting yourself.